Welcome to True Crime with Strategic Eyes.
Strategic back again. Yeah. Welcome to True Crime Strategic, guys. Hope you guys having a great day. We're going to be doing a lot of shows, man, because I'm on vacation. If you guys haven't heard, True Crime Strategic is on vacation from the day job. So I'm definitely sharing as many stories with you guys as I can until I got to go back to work. So today we're shooting for 3 lives. So this is the second live of today. And boy, isn't this a good live. Why is this a good live? We're going to talk about DACARA Thompson one more time. Very tragic case out of Maryland. This one's good because we're going to be giving you guys an update on the court hearing that just was recently had with her murderer, Hernandez. And we're going to hear a press conference from the family. I think it's very important to hear what the family has to say about this. Her mother, her father. This is very, very, very probative. So guys, do me a favor. Please hit that like button, support the channel. Some of these are less popular stories than what we have been covering in the last few weeks. So we're going to get lower viewership, and that's okay. We don't dictate what we cover by who's willing to watch it. We cover it because it's the right thing to do, and our mission on this channel is to give a voice to the voiceless. But it does help when the people who are here, who do care to listen to these less popular stories, hit that like button and engage in the chat so that that algorithm can say, they got something special going on over there in strategic land. How about we show this to a wider audience, and then we could get some new subscribers. And one last thing, we're trying to reach 100,000 subscribers before the end of the year. And we have less than 2,500 subs to go. Less than 2,500 before we get that nice big silver plaque to True Crime and Strategic that we've reached 100,000 subscribers. So please do hit that like button, subscribe, and share this with your friends and family. Let's jump into this, guys. I want to definitely go ahead and make sure that you guys are up to speed on this story. Give me a second. Let me pop everything up, and let's rock and roll.
Back here at home in Prince George's County, the man accused of murdering 19-year-old DACARA Thompson is due in court today.
She was missing for almost 2 weeks before her body was found in neighboring Anne Arundel County. Let's get to Stephanie Ramirez. She joins us live this morning with more. Do we know what the schedule's like for today?
Yeah, 1:15 is when a bond hearing is scheduled. The suspect in this case, 35-year-old Hugo Hernandez-Mendez, facing first and second-degree murder charges for the murder of 19-year-old DACARA Thompson. Now, guys, it was this past Friday when Prince George's County Police announced the arrest and charges, saying based on evidence found, they believe the 35-year-old took 19-year-old DACARA Thompson back to his Bowie home and murdered her in his bedroom, the home on Cambridge Drive in Bowie. Police then say they believe the suspect threw her body off of a
murdered her in the bedroom. Guys, remember, okay, because we talked about this earlier when we did an update this morning. Yes, I'm covering this story. I don't care. I don't care if nobody watches. I am covering this story because this is a messed up story, because DACARA was a good girl and she had a bright future ahead of her, and she already at a very young age was putting herself in a position to be of service to society. She worked for a nonprofit giving back to the community. Whatever other choices she may have made, I'm not going to judge her for that. We don't know. Some people are saying that she might have been tricking. Some people saying it doesn't matter. It's not a death sentence. It does not matter. What matters is that she got into that car willingly. She came back to his house willingly. He didn't force her. There's no evidence of that. And what is the point I'm about to make? She was in that room when things turned sour. And the occupants of that home want us to believe that all they heard was consensual intercourse and then grunting like somebody wasn't enjoying the intercourse, and then nothing. I don't believe it. Just like I said this morning, I do not believe that the people in that house did not hear blood-curdling screams, fighting, things getting knocked over, scratching, punching, the whole nine. She died from blunt force trauma to the face. There's no way that the people in that home are telling us the truth when they say that all they heard was at first consensual sex. I believe that part. And then unpleasant grunting like somebody wasn't enjoying the sex. And that's it. That's it. Nothing more. I think that they were withholding the truth, and that's why a lot of negative things are happening to that family right now, such as ICE taking away the father and looking into other occupants of the home because they did not cooperate. Because if they cooperated, they will be shielded under the U visa clause. But because they're not cooperating fully, they expose themselves to enforcement by the federal government. It's very sad because guess what? Some kids are going to be separated from their parents, but you cannot make me believe that this stuff is happening in the house. You didn't hear it. What I believe happened is that they turned a blind eye. They're like, oh, I'm minding my business. I don't know what's happening there. I'm just going to mind my business. And guess what? The car is dead. She's gone now when you probably could have saved her. Before we go back to this, I want to give a big shout out to Jessica Ellis. She says, I'm new. Thank you for the honesty and thank you for the membership. Justice for DACARA. Appreciate you a million. Thank you so much. And there's one more person. They said that they upgraded their membership. Here we go. Kathy Pentecost from Great Britain says, I upgraded my membership today. Thank you so much, Kathy, for upgrading that membership. All right, let's get back to this.
Route 50 bridge in Anne Arundel County. Now, according to redacted court documents, video showed Thompson approaching the suspect's SUV and then getting in the early morning hours of August 23rd. Now, police have not said what they think was happening there or what the motive for murder is. The Washington Post, citing unredacted charging documents, says an autopsy noted skull and facial fractures on Thompson's body, and that investigators also found blood evidence both in the suspect's bedroom and the SUV. The suspect in this case, guys, he is in the country illegally from Guatemala. He was previously arrested by a federal entity for DUI. That was Park Police. He does have a detainer lodged against him by ICE with this most recent arrest. I'll send it back to you.
What? Do you guys hear that? Did you guys hear that? How brutal that scene was? And once again, they mean us to believe that they didn't hear anything in that small little ranch-style bungalow. I'm not making fun of the house. A house is a house. It's a blessing to have a house or to live, rent, own, whatever. Just to live in a house, period. However you're in there, whether you're renting or you're owning, it's a blessing. A house is just something different compared to an apartment. Believe me, I grew up in a project apartment, and living in a house is just a different animal. So I'm not denigrating the house. What I'm saying is the reality is it's a small house. It's a small house that was stacked with family members. It was the cousin, her husband, and I think she has 3 or 4 kids, and then other family members. How many rooms did that small house have? You know, people was sleeping in a living room, people was sleeping in a garage, people was stacked up in bedrooms, the whole 9. And then, of course, he had his own bedroom where he committed the crime. So you can't make me believe that they didn't hear anything. But anyway, this is the press conference where the family's now going to speak. I think this is going to be extremely probative. I want to hear what the family has to say.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. We are here today to discuss the case of the 19-year-old DACARA Thompson. I'm going to turn this over to State's Attorney Tara Jackson. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
All right.
On Thursday of last week, the Prince George's County Police Department.
I just want to say this. I don't want to start no problems. You know, we don't do that race stuff here. We don't do that here on True Crime and Strategic. But there's a lot of beautiful black women up here, and I like that. I like to see a lot of beautiful black women. It's showing love. It's okay. So if I'm a white guy, it's no problem me saying, hey, there's a lot of beautiful white ladies up here. There should be no problem with these things. We can't be too sensitive. I'm a black man, and I'm proud to see a bunch of beautiful, professional black women on the stage. Let's keep going, man. But I love everybody. I love everybody.
Mr. Hernandez-Mendez and charged him with the murder of 19-year-old DACARA Thompson. He was presented before the commissioner, and he was held without bond at that time, pending a bail hearing. Earlier today, Mr. Hernandez-Mendez appeared before a judge bond review hearing, and he was again held without bond, and he will continue to be held without bond. I know that the public has been following this case closely, and there are a lot of questions and concerns about the circumstances surrounding Ms. Thompson's death and, frankly, the immigration status of the defendant.
My issue with this case, there's only one mystery that I want solved. There's only one mystery that I would like to be solved for me in this case. I just want to know, why did she get in the car? what is the circumstances of her getting into that car? Because listen, I don't judge dudes. I'm a guy, but this is a ugly dude. Big shout out to whoever gave us a coffee. Appreciate you. Whoever bought us coffee, we do appreciate you. Thank you. This guy's ugly. This guy's Scarface. He's an ugly guy. She was a beautiful young woman. Now, I just want to know, why did she get in the car? That's the only question I have.
I want to emphasize first that this remains an active investigation, and I am therefore extremely limited in any information that I can provide today. But I'll say this. The goal of this office is to achieve justice for DACARA Thompson and for her family. And that goal requires that my office have the ability to fully investigate and to thoroughly review any and all evidence in this case in order to make a determination regarding the appropriate charges for indictment. In addition, this office's primary concern is not the legal status of the defendant, or frankly of any other defendant. My concern is to hold accountable people who commit crimes against the residents of Prince George's County. My job is to hold accountable anyone who commits a crime in Prince George's County against, again, our residents. At this point, there is not much more than I can say, other than as the state's attorney, it is my job to ensure that the process is fair, that it is transparent and in full accordance with the law. And we will remain steadfast in our commitment to achieving justice. Thank you.
Are there any other suspects that you're looking at, any other people possibly involved in this?
Again, this case is under investigation, and so I cannot further comment as to the nature of any other suspects or any part of the investigation. Again, there were charges. The commissioner's office found probable cause. The judge has now held this defendant without bond. But as to the strength of the case, I can't comment on that at this particular point.
I think every single case should be televised. Not even televised. I think that's a little too much. But at least recorded for the internet. Every single case should be recorded for the internet. Let me listen to this question.
On that at this particular point.
Claire says she wish I'd cover Irina's case. I do want to cover that case. I'm thinking about it. It's just so much for me to cover. The problem with Irina's case, as horrible as that case is that it's becoming too polarized. And so we talk about this case, and this has like a migrant aspect to it, but it's just becoming a political spectacle, Irina's unfortunate case. And, you know, because she's a person from the Ukraine and da-da-da-da. I just don't want to wade into those waters. But I really do want to cover Irina's death because it is definitely a tragedy. But the internet is turning it into something that it should not be. We should be focusing on the victim, which is Irina, not on all these other political questions and debates and divides that the internet is making it into. But anyway, let's keep going.
In terms of what's next, our office again has to thoroughly review not only the charges that were lodged against the defendant, but the evidence that the police have collected in this case and continue to investigate where necessary, along with all of our law enforcement partners. And we'll make a determination in short order as to the appropriateness of any charges and what those charges will be. And then we would present to the grand jury for indictment. At this point, I can't speak to that, but we will. I can't speak to anything else that was not revealed within the statement of charges.
Any other questions?
Was anyone from the family willing to
Who's your name, please?
Carmen Thompson.
Carmen Thompson?
Yes.
And you are
I'm the mother of DACARA Thompson.
Okay. Let's hear from Mommy.
What were your thoughts?
So sorry, Mommy.
Hearing today, and our I would like to thank the PG County State's Attorney's Office for the great service that they've been providing. I just want justice served for my daughter.
Ms. Thompson, how are you guys doing? How's the family doing right now?
Is, you know, as good as a family could be under these circumstances, so not so good.
Oh, Lord.
You know, we're trying to maintain.
Tell us a little bit about your daughter. She was 19, just getting started, a young lady out of high school. Tell us
Yes,
about her, please.
my daughter, she had just turned 19 years old prior to this unfortunate circumstance. She was working under Westmore's Maryland Year Service Corps option, whatever it's called, program. She had just completed a year-long internship in which she was very successful. She did a great job. She was a kind of an outgoing, soft-spoken, kind young lady. She was a free spirit. She was a good girl. She was a good kid. So there's been a lot of people disparaging her character on social media and things as such. Please don't believe everything you see. Don't believe everything you hear. Out of respect for the family and us grieving, please, approach everything with grace. We would appreciate that.
I hear you.
Ma'am, do you have any thoughts about this notion that this guy was arrested by Park Police and released back in April?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
This man, Mr. Hernandez-Mendez,
Yes.
was arrested by the United States Park Police for drunk driving in April 25th on the BW Parkway. He was subsequently released. There was no check of his immigration status or anything like that. There were no warrants at the time, no detainers. But he was in federal custody. And then he was released, and he is in the country without proper documentation, and now they've filed.
I'm very disappointed, finding that out now, because we may not be here today if they did what they were supposed to do.
That's a fact. Now, listen, I want to address this real quick because somebody made a really good statement in the comments of one of my videos. They said that this has nothing to do with the federal government because this was state charges that he was facing. I want to explain that to you guys because I think, like I told you guys on my other video when we discussed this, my first video discussing DACARA Thompson, that as a society, as good people, good-natured, good citizens, we have to have a baseline that we agree to if we're going to make progress on things that matter to us. So in that video, I spoke about how I don't agree with this administration deporting grandmothers and grandfathers who have been in America for decades. I feel like it tears families apart. I think there should be some compromise where maybe they pay a fine or something like that, where we have some grace and forgiveness, because this is a Christian nation. It was founded as a Christian nation. Of course, we are welcoming and tolerant of every type of religion in the world because this is America, but we do have Christian foundings and Christian fundamentals. And part of that is to be forgiving, right? But I said for us to have that conversation where we could talk about how do we have mercy and grace for people who may have come into this country without documentation, we have to have a baseline. And I felt that a baseline that we all should agree upon is that if you commit a crime in America and you're not here legally, that you should be sent back to your home country. I said, not for traffic tickets or for parking tickets. We're talking about serious crimes like assault, rape, murder, drunk driving, which kills thousands of Americans every single year, selling drugs, which destroys communities. These are things that we should be able to agree upon as a baseline, as we all say that, yes, that is correct. Get rid of somebody who does these horrible things. And now we can work on and debate and come to some type of compromise on the more complicated issues in immigration. Now, the person said something, they said, this is a state issue. This has nothing to do with the federal government. Just because they were federal parks police officers, it's the judge on the state level that let them go. And that person is right, but they're also wrong. And I'm explaining to you why it is still those park police officers' fault that this man remained on the street. Let me explain that to you. I've actually seen state park guys before, like when I was in the bookends processing my own perpetrator. I would see them sometimes, very rarely, but sometimes I'd see them with their own perpetrators that they got from the parks. Federal Parks Police are one of those unique branches of the federal government that not only have federal jurisdiction, but they also have state jurisdiction for whatever state that they're assigned to work in. So they have to know the laws of the federal government and the laws of the state, because the federal government doesn't have laws that encompass the things that they will be arresting people for when they go to state parks. So there's no drinking in public charge for the federal government, so they have to rely upon the state laws for that. There's no drunk driving laws for the federal government, so they have to rely upon the state when they pull somebody over who's driving on or around a federal park who's drunk, like this guy, Hernandez. It is not the federal parks officer's fault that the judge allowed this man to go free after he was caught for drunk driving. Guess what? Most people do. So the judge didn't even do anything wrong. But those officers had a duty to report him to ICE. They had a duty to report him to ICE, and they would know that he is illegal when they run him. They would see that his Social Security does not exist or does not come back to him. He's using somebody else's Social Security. When they fingerprint him, they would see that it does not come back to a person with a state identification. The only thing that I see could be blamed on the state, and this is politics, so you may agree with it or you may disagree. It's all good. This is a safe space for us all to agree to disagree, is the fact that they gave him a driver's license, and that's the state's fault. He's undocumented. Why does he have a driver's license? Now, I understand if you're a state and you're like, well, I got all these undocumented people in my state. I want to know who they are. I'm all about data. I'm a detective. Data saves lives. Data solves cases. I have no problem with them giving people state IDs. But a driver's license is something totally different. Why are you giving people who are not documented in America driver's license? Okay. But those state or those federal park officers, they should have reported him to ICE when they encountered him. They did not do that, and now DACARA is gone, and guess what? Even her mother agrees. This is what her mother's saying. She's disappointed because if they would have did their job, guess what? Her daughter would most likely still be alive to this day.
Is there any indication that the victim may have known this person or crossed paths with him ever in her life?
Let me again say that I just want to be clear, and out of respect for the family as well, anything, any questions regarding the nature of the investigation would be harmful to our investigation at this particular point. So I want to make sure that we don't delve into any of that information. And I will say, you asked a question earlier. As always, there'll be an autopsy that's performed as a part of the investigation.
Last question, Katie.
Carmen, and then a follow-up from Madam State's Attorney. The family often has a long journey after a crime like this happens.
Yes.
The trauma as the case moves forward, and the victims have to outlive the crime itself. Is the family prepared for what's about to happen in the coming months with the grueling work of retelling the story, working with investigators, everything that's to come?
That's a tough question. That's a tough question because we know it's going to be extremely hard. We just ask that everybody pray for our strength through the process.
And Madam State's Attorney, the DC U.S. Attorney has blamed Maryland for crime in the district and for guns coming into the county. Have you seen any change recently given the surge in the district just across the border in Maryland, or anything that has been different after the national troops have been in the district?
All I'll say to that is that we continue to work with our law enforcement partners both in Prince George's County and in the district to make sure that that we're protecting the residents of this county. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Best of luck, Ms. Thompson. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for coming.
All right. Interesting. Very interesting. Nice to hear from the family and how they feel about it. They do have an issue with people saying that that maybe she was engaging in prostitution. Once again, we're a true crime channel. Our job is to get the facts. Sometimes the facts are uncomfortable truths. Sometimes they're not. I don't know what she was doing out there that night. There's no evidence that she was selling herself. There's also no evidence that she wasn't. One of the biggest mysteries for me in this case is, why did she get in the car with that man? I'm not saying this because he's a schmurderer. I'm saying it because it's a fact. This guy was old and oogly. Seriously. This was a 19-year-old little beauty. Why on God's green earth would she get in the car with this guy at 1:30 in the morning? I do not know. When she told her dad at 10 p.m., I'm going out to get gas. What did she do between 10 p.m. and 1:30 a.m.? And then at 1:30 a.m., why did she just hop out her car, park it, and walk into this man's car unless there was something prearranged? Listen, we are people of common sense. We're all adults here. This is not a show for kids. All right? There's something very fishy about how they got together. We know how it ended, and how it ended was in tragedy that cannot be denied. That nothing, no decision she made that night made her deserve the outcome. She did not deserve the outcome. She did not deserve to lose her life. But it just does not make sense.
Does that make sense?
It does not make sense.
Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
For a 19-year-old girl, mind you, and I'm not even trying to be funny with this next statement, but doesn't even share the same culture or anything of this guy. They had nothing in common. Nothing in common. And then she just gets into a car with a guy who's twice her age, doesn't even share her culture or her historical background or anything. And you don't have to be black to have the same culture and historical background. It could have been a American Latino, could have been a Caucasian guy. This guy's fresh off the boat or the mountain pass, depending on how you look at it. Been here just for a year and a half or something like that. Probably didn't even speak much English, because the cousin's being interviewed and she can't even speak English. She's being interviewed in Spanish at her house through the window. Why is she getting in the car with this guy? That's the mystery. When we figure that out, then we'll understand why it happened. We figure that out, we understand why it happened. Anyway, guys, second live for today, man. You guys are great. I appreciate you guys for joining me. Please hit that like button on your way out the building. We want to get into that algorithm so the show could grow. Less than 2,500 to 100,000 subscribers. So please do subscribe to the channel if you don't mind. And if you like what we're doing, giving a voice to the voiceless. Before I go, I do want to give a shout out to who gave me a super chat. Let's see here. Nope, I already read that out, man. Appreciate it. Thank you once again, Jessica Ella. All right. You guys are amazing. I'll see you guys on the next one. Strategic is out of here. Peace.